Okay, we got a Vermeer 5410 Rebel. Not sure the year of the baler, but we're having to put new chains and sprockets on it. As you can see here, some of the sprockets. Okay, as you can see here, the sprocket should look like this. Not sharp, you know, shallow bevel. But instead, a lot of the sprockets look like this, very sharp. The valley is wore plumb out. I can get my whole finger in there. So this one's got to be replaced. There's one back here that's got to be replaced. And as you can see, the one down here, very difficult to get to, has got to be replaced. And we're going to go through the steps of dropping the pickup to get that sprocket off. Okay, of course, here's our pickup. We're going to take this little guard here off. I've had it off once. Then we're going to take our center washer and nut out, or bolt. I'm going to remove the 4 bolts that hold this collar. Take this collar off and get it out of our way. You're also going to have to remove the crank for the pickup. It just screws right out. Here's the crank. Then we're going to remove this shoulder collar right here that helps hold the bearing in place. It comes off of this shaft. Right here's your bearing. Okay. It comes off in this direction with the collar out, so this fits on the collar, as you can see. Okay, so once we get our bearing off, then we got to get the inside sleeve off, or collar, whatever it's called, and that leaves us with the washers. And right here's our sprocket. We're going to have to drop the pickup to get this off. And we're removing all of our washers. The washers are set to where it fits tight against the bearing with the pickup metal here. So we're removing our washers. Okay, to drop our pickup, number one, we're going to have to take this spring loose, this rod, to let the pickup fall forward. But we also have to take this sprocket and chain. There's a bearing back here and these collars off, so the pickup will fall forward. It can fall through this slot right here. Okay, once again, I'm using my bolt in the center of the axle or rod or whatever you want to call it to put my puller on to keep from marring up the threads. But the bolt with the washer will come off first. You'll have a couple washers, or maybe more, I don't know, but you'll take them off. Now well, before I forget it, there's some Allen screws down in these holes right here, and they got a sharp tip on them to hold the sprocket in place. So don't forget to loosen them up, and you don't have to pull them all the way out, but loosen them up and bring them out enough to where your sprocket will come off. There's a keyway right here. One of the Allen screws goes in to hold that keyway. So we're taking it off right now. sprocket and chain is coming off with the keyway. As you can see, here's your keyway, here's your key right down here still in the sprocket. So we'll drop that out of the way, put our key over here where we won't lose it. And here's the collar that was on the other side, the same thing holding the bearing in that I was talking about. And it also has an Allen screw you have to take loose before you can get it off. And now finding it's the next thing right there, it's stopped up. I'll get something to clean that out. Okay, we're going to remove our holding collar here. As you can see, the flange around the bearing here that this bevel fits around. So basically take it off. Now we're going to remove these 4 bolts. Take this collar here off. We'll take these 4 bolts off from here. Okay, now we'll get our outside collar off. And then we'll have to pull the bearing with this collar out. And it should, if we get this clear of just the bolt heads here, this should drop down. Alright, we're going to pull this flange out, pry it out just enough to where we can get our puller in behind. This collar, and as you can see, I need to pull my stud way out. Now we got our puller up against this collar, which is pulling on the bearing. Sometimes you have to beat around this flange. Okay, we got the sprocket off. As you can see, the sprocket's off. Also, bearing and washers, that was fun to get off. It had rusted on the shaft, but as you can see with the shaft clean, the spacer as well, there was a spacer on here. Okay, but as you can see, the shaft is here. The slit in the pickup, it let it fall, and the pickup's completely on the ground now, and it is not light. I did take the spring loose right here to allow it, to fall forward, and as you can see, it is not light. Alright, I need to spin everything, so I'm on the shaft here with a big pair of channel locks, and I'm going to manually spin my belts and chains to where I can get the different things. Okay, we're going to remove this master link on this chain, which will allow the chain to come apart. That way we can get this sprocket off, but first we got to get this master link off. Let you get a look at it so you'll know. Okay, removing the master link, we're going to remove the cover key, the locking key, then hopefully, yeah, that come right off. So now Gotta get the master link out. And try to work it out and beat it out. Now your chain's apart, and here's your master link. I'm just going to put it back together so I don't lose the parts. Okay, as my suspected, not only is this sprocket wore out, but the mating socket or sprocket has worn out. It's going to have to be replaced as well. I would not replace one without the other, but just so happens both of them are wore out. So this one will have to be pulled and replaced, as well as the big one. Yep. We'll go ahead and pull this bolt out that holds everything together. Make sure it doesn't come off. It makes sure that all this doesn't come apart. We're going to go ahead and pull this, and then we're going to get this new chain that I went ahead and put on there off, because I'm thinking I'm going to replace this sprocket, this sprocket, this sprocket, probably this sprocket, and I'll have to look at this rear one a little closer, but right now I know of 4 sprockets. Now, in getting this sprocket off, we've removed our center bolt, but as usual, we got an Allen screw hole over here. We're going to have to get the Allen screw out right here, and I'm thinking there's probably one right here where this keyway is. It's on the bottom. If it is, it's sealed up. I'll have to clean it out. Okay, this one, it's full of crap too. Alright, we're gonna break this Allen loose. Okay, back it down, and boy, it is full of threads, are full of junk. Okay, master link on the new chain, one of the new chains I bought, but we're going to pop it back off so we can get all this cluster off and start figuring out what we got to replace. Okay, brand new chain. As you can see, I have removed it, but I want you to look. I've got a tooth broke here, and look at how these are starting to fold over from the wear on a wore out sprocket. This sprocket here is not really that bad, but it is starting to wear. If you look right over in here, you can see where they're cupping out. It's shiny. So more likely we'll replace that one as well. Alright, I have a Chinese special here. This is a hydraulic puller, 3 legs. Basically you pump it and it pulls straight back. This come from Harbor Freight, so we'll see what it'll do here. Actually, I need to get this sleeve here off first. So let me see if I can get that sleeve off. Okay, we got the sleeve pulled forward. We're gonna see if we can make this thing break. Oh, it is rusted on there. All right, everybody. Lost my cameraman. He had to go to work. be the son-in-law. But you can see what I drug out. Oxygen and acetylene. And you're probably thinking, yeah, you probably had to heat it up and to get it off. Well, also have a 10-ton hydraulic 3-prong puller. Guess what? Would not come off. So, as you can see, I had to take the torch and start cutting away at the center of the sprocket. And guess what? It's hot, but it is loose now. I don't know if you can see it moving or not. That thing was just so rusted on there. But anyways, wanted to show you that. So now it's got to cool off, and then I'll try to get it off there. But make note that just because I cut the sprocket, you notice the shaft, I hope you can, the shaft has not been touched with the torch. I only cut the sprocket to loosen it up. So we will continue on. All right, everybody. Finally, after all day with a torch, a 10-ton puller, and wore my hind end out, I finally got this thing to break loose. And as you can see, she is coming off. But when it broke, it scared the you-know-what out of me. It popped so hard. And it's catching again. Oh my gosh. What in the world? Or just cut the thing plumb off, what I should do. Well, I've repositioned this puller, and it's heavy. It's all I can do to hold it up and keep it in place, because now the pulley's wanting to come off, or the gear is wanting to come off, and it's letting this pulley slip. I mean puller. I'll get my nomenclature correct here in just a second. Let's see if I can get it to come on off. Come on, stay up there. One thing, I hope you all don't have the problems I've had with this. I think sometimes when I get to pulling on it with a puller, it gets it in a bind and it don't want to come on off. I've decided to get a pair of gloves, old gloves, and I'm going to see if I can just work this thing off, because the puller seems to get in a bind, and it is hot where I've been putting the torch to it. Yeah, it looks like it's coming. Looky there. Easy, 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 easy. Looky there, folks. One gear torched, and I can see why the rust in there. Holy cow. Oh, it's even been spinning right there. Let's see if you can see this. It's been spinning. That's why it wouldn't come off. It's been spinning on this shaft where the set screw was supposed to be, and just jimmied that shaft up. Of course, we're going to use it again if I can get these washers off. But you can see it's been working on that. Sure has. Alright, I just wanted to show everybody what's left of this keyway. The keyway was completely gone, and not only is it completely gone, it's warped the keyway channel. So I'm gonna have to take a, I don't know, grinder or something. I've got to get all them washers off first. I'll have to pry them off. But as you can see, that shaft has been spinning with that gear. It's amazing to me it even worked. I guess it finally just got somewhere and locked up. But hopefully yours won't be like that, because what a pain it was. Alright, took the old grinder and ground that channel out where the square stock goes. And I also took the grinder and run it back and forth on the shaft, trying to clean it up. Now, I'm not sure the gear will go on there good, but I had to pry these washers off. Now they just slip right on and off. If I can get to keep them together. So I'm hoping the gear will go on there just as easy. Alright, to get this pulley off, or pulley, I keep calling them pulleys. To get this sprocket off, I'm going to use my 3-prong sprocket puller, 3-jaw, whatever you want to call it. It's manual. I put the bolt back in it to keep from marring the threads. It's a little bit off right now, but we're going to see if we can get it off. Okay, this one seems to be coming right off. Of course, I've got the bolt and the washer in there, so I'm going to have to release this to bring the bolt out a little bit to where we can take it on off there. Back that washer off and the bolt. So let's see what we can do about pulling this thing off a little bit more. There it comes. Alright, we're tied up against our washer again, so I think we can get it off here in just a second. Okay, as you can see, the keyway, that's where the set screw's at, right here, where the keyway's at. Well, let's see if this thing will come on off here. Probably won't. I have to give it a little persuasion. That's pretty close. Aha! With the key still in it. We're going to run that key in this right here where I cleaned it up, just to see how it fits. But I'll have to get a new piece of stock keyway for it. But now we'll get this chain off. I don't know about both of these sprockets yet. Looks like they may be okay, but we won't know until we look. Here we go. Alright, we got that outer sprocket off and the chain. I just took the master link out of the chain. It appears that this sprocket is in pretty good shape. One we may not have to replace, but this one behind it is bad. So now we got to pull this off with the keyway. This sprocket appears to be in real good shape. Idler. No, that's a roller. I'm sorry, it's a roller. But we're going to replace the bearing here behind it. While I've got it down this far, I'm putting a new bearing in there. This idler, it's in fine shape. No problem with it. So there's two. 1 and 2. This one here is going to be 3. But I got to get this one off. As you can see, I put the bolt and the washer back on to press on, pull off. Then we'll move to these bad boys. Alright, here we go. Alright, one more. The bad one, the actual one we want to get off. keyway. So till we get that off, we're done with this. Well, actually, I'm gonna have to take this one off too to get the bearing out. So we'll get to that point in a little bit. But this one sprocket here is not really in that bad a shape. So we'll probably use this one, because it will probably make it to the next set of sockets and chains. Alright, just a reminder, not that you'd forget, but here's the keyway right here. So we're looking for a set screw right in this area somewhere. Right there, it's going to be the hole. And don't forget to undo your set screw. That's something I haven't been mentioning. Not that you would forget, but I will forget sometimes. So I'm going to clean it out, get it loosened up, and we'll continue on. Got the puller situated on the last sprocket. Gotta hope it comes off as easy as the other two. Here we go. Alright, last sprocket. Keyway. The key and the keyway. And that one is bad. I'll get the key out of it in a minute. I assume these are shims. One of them broke. I guess that's what they are, shims. But I see a gap right there I do not like the looks of. So I'm going to take his cap off, or his bearing retainer, and we might just see about replacing this bearing too. Alright, here we go. Yeah, that two-finger job don't work.
Okay, well, that's all I had. I don't know.
This is tough right here. This is where a man needs a magnet mount. Oh well, I'll just... We got to get this sprocket off. Take a good look at it. I got a feeling it's probably to the point it needs to be replaced too. It may be okay. We won't know till we clean it up, get it off. But we're going to pull it. Don't forget to do your Allen screw where your keyway is, or you'll be pulling the set screw along the keyway. It's no fun. So don't forget that. But we're gonna see if we can pull this thing off if I don't lose my puller. And I'll get back with you. Here we go.